Hi, everybody. Welcome to Terry TV. Yes, this is a little casual today because it's Monday, January 6th. So we're going to be casual. This is the first official kind of we're back day into 2025. Many have come back from vacation, including myself. I had a wonderful wonderful anniversary, 21st anniversary to the love of my life escape. And it was wonderful. It was great, which is why things are a little crazy today. And I'm doing it kind of from my den area. But I wanted to pop in very quickly just to let you guys know as the new year progresses, this is going to be less crazy. Have I said that before? Yes, I think I have. I'm Terri Hardin, Walt Disney's legendary Imagineer and pop icon. You're welcome to look me up, Terri Hardin. I have 2 Wikipedia pages. I worked on films like Ghostbusters, Men in Black. I helped build the Marshmallow Man, which is one of the most famous iconic characters in films, is that Marshmallow Man. I did that with my dear friend Billy Bryant and a team of Marshmallow Man people that we all did it together. Everything's a team effort, really. Puppeteered the face along with 3 other people. That was great. I've also done country bears and a multitude of things, dinosaurs. You can see me on the Wikipedia pages more than IMDb because IMDb is a little so they don't necessarily put you in or out or up or down. It's just, yeah, just the way it is. So feel free to look me up, Terri Hardin. You can put me in a Google or whatever if you're so interested. If not, then just sit back and listen to what I'm going to say today because it's going to be nice, quick, and to the point. I basically, as you noticed, probably if you saw the thumbnail that I put up, It's a Wonderful Life. Here's why. Yesterday was the Golden Globes, and it made me think of movies. I didn't watch it. I'm going to be honest with you. We were coming back from our amazing 21st anniversary celebration. So I did not watch the Golden Globes yesterday, but I did see a little bit about them on the news, and it looks like the host did a fantastic job. She was quite funny. I got to see excerpts from that, and I really appreciate that. But I pulled in It's a Wonderful Life for a particular reason. My husband and I watched this last night when we returned. And one of the things I love about black and white films that I sometimes don't see in today's films, and I'm only saying black and white films so you have the era, okay? Because there are color films that are very, very helpful, that really, really hit the point. There's some that mean quite a bit. Green Mile comes to mind. I just absolutely love this film. There are films that are very, if you listed your films, you could say there are films throughout your history that are really amazing. The trend I'm beginning to see lately in horror films, it's a lot of blood and booze instead of suspense, with the exception of something that I saw that I really, really enjoyed and loved, which was A Quiet Place Day One. Yeah, my life has been a little crazy in 2023, 2024, and part of 2022. Like, join the club, right? So, so I'm not saying that I'm any different. It's just we were all in the same bucket. Craziness ensued. So I didn't get to go to the theater very much and see a lot of films, but I did see films that I felt made a big difference, like Godzilla -1, which shows there is hope in the Godzilla franchise because people don't just look at a big rubber monster and go, ooh, let's make a movie. They actually research why this movie is why this character, Godzilla, is so popular. So that brings me back to It's a Wonderful Life. When I saw this movie as a child, I really didn't like it. And the reason was because it hurts so much to watch this film. I mean, it hurts. If any of you are someone who are dreamers, and as a young child, you're planning your life, this is what you envision yourself as a young child. And then as you grow up, many of us realize that life occurs, that life happens, and life either catapults you in the direction you need to go or throws up a wall or several walls. And this movie is one that actually takes you through a very special life and what his challenges are compared to what his dreams are. And when I was a kid, I think the first time my parents showed it to me, I was, I guess, maybe 8 or 9, I think they waited because I'm a very, very visual person. I had a huge imagination, I still do, and I take a lot of things to heart, I still do. As a little kid, like, this was real for me, and experiencing It's a Wonderful Life, the pros, the cons, the ups, the downs, and the many, many doors that continued to slam in his face, but by choice. He chose to shift, but he chose to shift for human reasons. And you'd like to think that you're this kind of person, right? You'd like to think, I think many people would like to think that they are this kind of person, the person that can, see what's happening in their community and respond to what's happening in their community and change their oars in the water as he does, as the Jimmy Stewart character does. And I'm keeping it kind of vague and, because if you haven't seen this movie, because A, you're really, really young and you have this idea that black and white movies are meh, then you may never have seen it because it's a black and white movie. You may have not seen it because this year I noticed that the broadcasts were, some showed it over and over and over, and some didn't. Now, personally, I love A Christmas Story, that really nice 19 whatever it is movie that has our Ralphie and his brother and that crazy dad and the leg lamp and all of that. That's what I want to see over and over and over at Christmas with on Christmas Day. It's a Wonderful Life, like I said, a lot of ows, a lot of pain. Yes, at the end, yes, there are victories throughout the movie. And if you haven't seen it, I don't really want to spoil it for you, but it's just, it is unbelievable. And my husband told me yesterday as I watched it, through tissues and everything else, that, this movie tanked when it originally aired back in its day. And this is pretty surprising to me. But what happened was, what happened, as my husband told me, that guy right there, as my husband told me, was that it was inexpensive. It was an inexpensive movie to make and an inexpensive movie to purchase. So you remember those days, and many of you who were born in 2000, I don't even know if such things existed in the 2000s, so forgive me. But for those of you that were the 90s or the 80s, these kind of areas where you have channels like MeTV, which resurrect a lot of shows that I was really involved with as a young person, and they're still out there. Grit is another one if you love Westerns. These channels that are on streaming that really take care of this sort of thing. Wow, that's good and hot. The point I'm trying to say about it is that this movie may have tanked when it was made, but it's one of it was just voted #1 Christmas film. Okay. Actually, #1 Christmas film by most people was A Christmas Story with Ralphie and all those wonderful kids. After that was Home Alone. But if you talk to the big, wide picture, It's a Wonderful Life takes that over. But the point is, why? If this movie tanked, why did it become so popular? Local channels, like my local channel, KTLA 5, used to show it all the time. And this year I saw that there was a channel streaming it over and over and over again. And this is because it was an inexpensive movie. They could get the license to show it. Anyone and everyone across the continent and across the world were able to show this movie, and it began to build momentum. It began to create a following. In fact, little Zuzu, who is plays the youngest child in the movie, the girl who plays Zuzu, the youngest child, she is still out there and living today, and congratulations to her. She had a very, very challenging personal life. And there was a period where they didn't really seek her out to, and at one point, Jimmy Stewart said, I wonder what happened to the little girl who played Zuzu in It's a Wonderful Life. And his secretary did a search and found her, and they decided to do a reunion. And then now every year, she, at certain times, I would imagine around Christmas in various states, she goes and she signs autographs and she tells the story of being little Zuzu. And if you guys are like me and you love anything that has to do with religious connotation, whether it's good or bad, a lot of times I just love it if it involves God, Jesus, angels, Ten Commandments, Ben-Hur, anything about faith. I love it. I love faith-based stuff. And there's a marvelous movie called with Cary Grant called The Bishop's Wife. And I love this movie. Well, the little girl who plays Zuzu in It's a Wonderful Life plays the daughter in The Bishop's Wife. And they're one right after the other movie. One was made in, I think, 1946, and the other was made in 1947. So this little kid, when you see her, you'll see she's charming, she's darling, she's gorgeous, and she's amazing on camera. She's just sunshine. So to see that she is still spreading that sunshine wherever she goes, and these movies were done in the 40s and she was all of 5 or 6, it's great to see that she is still around and she's still spreading the joy of It's a Wonderful Life and what it was like to do It's a Wonderful Life, but the message is very strong. So why did I bring this up to you today? Why am I saying we got to live this right? We want to, as we go into 2025, we got to think about how are we going to go in and live this right? Okay. You need to screen this movie. You need to look at this movie and you need to think about yourself as a human being. This is what I feel. This is my feeling. It's not me saying you must, you must, you must. Don't get me wrong. It's me saying as I watched it, I realized it was a great movie to start the new year with because it points out what's important. And it's not preachy or sugar-coated. Today's movies tend to be a little oversweet for me. Disney films that are just a little bit too much sugar. And it's not that I dislike them, it's just that it kind of paints a rose-colored glasses view of life. Life is not about, if it's a Disney film, they're all going to come out and it's all going to be hearts and flowers, okay? Films are so influential in our lives that it's really important that as a filmmaker, as creators, and I'm not a filmmaker, I am an artist, but whenever I'm painting or drawing or sculpting, I really think about, even if I'm doing sculptures, like I just finished doing a little marshmallow man for my collectors, you've got to make sure that there's a heart and a soul and it's conveyed something joyful or something, what is that sculpture or that art trying to say? We're not just duplicating to duplicate photographically. We're duplicating to give you a good feeling when you look at it, you hold it, and you experience it. So as we go into 2025, if you watch this movie and you see what this person did, this man and his wife and this man as a boy all the way up, did and does throughout his life, because he's genuinely a good person and he's genuinely about his community, even though he doesn't want to be about his community in It's a Wonderful Life. I'll tell you, one thing about the movies of those eras, the 40s and the 50s, is that you really didn't know what the outcome was going to be. Like Disney films today, I know they're going to end happily. They're not going to end badly. They're always going to have an up, beat. And they're not going to have teeth like they did at the time when Walt was alive. Like, for example, Old Yeller has an upbeat at the end, but the movie rips your heart out, Old Yeller. Bambi rips your heart out in the middle of the movie, but there is an up at the end. You know, we have these crises in life, but we can get through them if we get with those who can help us and not isolate ourselves and go into the darkness alone. These movies are important because we don't want, a lot of people put a lot of, they put a lot of, what kind of a word am I trying to think of? They put a lot of weight in a movie, and they'll watch the movie and think, this is the way life is. You know, the guy always gets the sexy girl. The bad guy always pays for his badness and evilness. Villains are punished. Good people are taken care of. And we know that this isn't the case in life, always. In life, some of the bad people never get discovered and never have to atone for what they have done. It's true. There's there that keep doing it and keep being successful at it, and there you go. There's not always a happy rainbow, and these movies that try and tell you or tell our young people that this is the way life is going to be. You know, in a world where they want to give everybody an award and they don't want kids to compete because they don't want kids to feel bad. This is crazy. I'm sorry, this behavior is not good. Because when you have a first, a second, and a third, and then honorable mentions, I think that's great. But you should always have a first, a second, and a third in the Olympics. It creates something inside you as a human being that makes you want to do better, to be stronger, to be more. As a performer, which I have been since I was a little kid, now it's mostly puppets. For those of you who didn't know, I've been with Henson since 1982. And I do a lot of puppets on my own. As a little kid, well, as a young girl, I came across puppets and used that to put myself through college because I'm creative, like crazy creative, but I'm not real number smart. So there were no giant scholarships waiting for me to go to college. I had to go to junior college, and my parents were not, super wealthy. So I had to come up with the idea of, how am I going to earn the living myself? How am I going to put myself through some sort of college? It's got to be me. So I did portraits, I painted rocks, and I entered Halloween contests. Yeah, if you want to know about that, post in the comments and I'll talk about that at another time. But the point is, it was my responsibility. My parents did the best they could, but they had two daughters, and one of them numbers genius, like business genius, scholarships, major university, all of that. Well, Terry was working hard to get into a junior college, which I don't regret, because that's where I met the love of my life, my husband. And to think that at that time I was going to be rewarded as I am with a marriage that is you pinch yourself. It's a dream. It's an absolute dream. So it can happen for you, but you have to be patient. And that's another subject. You want to know about romance, my philosophy and romance? Yeah, that's another video. Just post in the comments if you want to learn about it. I'm happy to talk about it. I'm always going to be straightforward and truthful because I don't know any other way. I'm over direct, very to the point, and some people get offended. And I warn you, there is no catalytic converter on my mouth. So if I say something that it offends you, it's kind of like London weather. Wait a little bit, and then ask me, what did you mean by that? That hurt my feelings. That got me. And I'm more than happy to explain it out, okay? Because there are things I say sometimes that are very cutting. And it's only because I just get it out. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I just want to get the idea out. And then we can look at it and say, okay, I didn't quite mean it that way. This is what I meant, but this is how I feel, sort of thing, right? I don't want to get wrapped up in the magma of social media. I think that social media has a place and it's really been a benefit, but it's also been a curse in many ways. Some people, many people, are out there trying to get that video that will give them 1 million likes, or they are broadcasting and they spend their whole time behind their phone like this, and you don't get to participate in the actual thing that you're doing, right? You're here and you're blah, 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 like I'm doing now, blah, blah, blah. And you're talking about an incident, and this is between you and the incident instead of you being in the moment, sharing, experiencing these things, right? So if you're broadcasting out there and you're doing this, don't make it, so obsessive that you forget your family, your kids, the stuff that make you rich, the stuff that truly makes you wealthy, right? Back to It's a Wonderful Life. This is the message, what is wealth truly? What is good for your soul, for your spirit, for your heart? Money is definitely essential. I remember Zig Ziglar saying, money isn't everything, but it's a heck of a lot like breathing. But he also said there's ways to be someone who's going for the quest of being, having that comfort and that freedom with financial freedom, for example, but to do it and still keep your soul. Okay. And when you watch It's a Wonderful Life, you're going to see the soulless and the soulful. And it's painful. It's really a movie that is really hard to watch, because when you start to think about the behaviors of these people and the circumstances that unfolds because of the behaviors of these people, you can't but put yourself in these situations and say, wow, I remember when. I mean, you're going to watch It's a Wonderful Life if you've never watched it, or if you revisit it, which I hope you will, that it speaks, some portion of it speaks to all of us in a different way. And for me, as I make my way to semi-retirement, because what artist really retires? But this is 2025 for me. I have a few deadlines I must meet because I promised. And I hope that I can remember the promises that I made and fulfill the promises that I made. But if I miss one, and you out there need to remind me, gently remind me, because like everyone else, I'm not perfect. And I don't really want to be. I just want to be the best person I can be. And sometimes that's difficult. Sometimes you get wrapped up in your own magma. And these past 3 years have been just that. I have been full of my own magma, full of my own pain, full of my own challenges. And honestly, if it hadn't been for my Patreon page and Terry's Tribe, I don't know what I would have done. That's a collective group community where we are there for each other. When I started my Patreon page, it was the brainchild, honestly, the idea of my friend Michelle Young, she's Michelle, I can't remember her last name right now. Forgive me, Michelle, but she's a lovely person, and she just thought this is something you need to have, and it was painful to do it. And when I started it, it was silly, it was goofy, because I didn't know what I was doing. And people said the page was juvenile. Now it's not. It's different because I change it, and we're probably going to change it again. As far as what I want to do content-wise. But I had to ask myself, and I sat with my husband, and my husband said, where do you see yourself in 2025? And I've got to tell you, I want to do pre-records on this channel, this YouTube channel. I'd like to do pre-records that you might enjoy. And if you don't, well, it's my channel. You have the right to change it if you want. But if you do enjoy it, then join me. And then if you want to talk to me live and in person, I will maybe every couple of months do an Ask Me Anything on the YouTube channel, but where you can see me live every week is going to be on my Patreon page. So patreon.com/Terri Hardin is where you're going to go. And I can easily pop that up for you if you're curious about it. It's not a lot to be a part of the page. And it really does mean I'm inviting you not because of the $5 a month that it costs. That just gets my skin in the game and your skin in the game. I'll show up and you support, right? Just helping each other, right? But that way I'll come on live and I talk to you and I do a Zoom call every week as best I can. There's other things that I plan to give you content for that $5. And there's ways that you can gift this to someone who you think might need to hear, need the inspiration that we all give on that page, on this page. So as we start the new year, I think it would be great if you watch this film. And I think it would be great if, as you watch it, you think about what is its true message. And for those of you who say, I hate black and white, and I was just on a podcast that was lovely, two beautiful people. We actually did a two-parter. And she said, I hate black and white. And I thought to myself, you need to revisit it. Visit this one. And then you may still hate black and white because this one has teeth. If you want to float along like a leaf on the water and not feel much, or feel that kind of fantasy scary stuff like in Abigail or in those kind of movies where it's a lot of blood, blah, blah, and, you know, some silliness and nothing you need to really be scared of because you just like that kind of thing. Great. But if you want something that's going to take a hold of your heart and squeeze it tight for close to 2 hours, this is It's a Wonderful Life. Do you dare? Your mission is to check this out. I don't care if you don't like black and white. I think you need to see this film if you haven't seen it. Be bold. Be brave. This film is really going to touch you. And if it doesn't, I suggest you watch it again. Now, before I close, I'm going to say that mini music does this for you. You know, your musical artists and how they reach you and how they touch you and how they inspire you. For me, it's film. I couldn't tell you a current artist except for Taylor Swift because in the Patreon page I have a huge, there's probably several, but a huge Taylor Swift fan. She is absolutely adorable and she's not 15. But she loves Taylor Swift, and anytime Taylor has something going on, she wants to tell us about it, and I love hearing about it because I don't really understand the Taylor Swift phenomenon, but it's out there, and she inspires so many, and she looks to be a very sweet person. Whenever I manage to get an interview because my friend says you ought to see this, or I hear a song now. Apparently she disses her exes, but I don't want to listen to a lot of that. I don't know a Taylor Swift song. I couldn't tell you an artist's name. I'd be terrible at, name that artist, name that band. Most of the time I'm saying who, what. I don't know names. I know characters in films. The guy who did the man who played with the exception of Dwayne Johnson, because he's been around, and how can you forget Dwayne Johnson, actually? But films are very, very inspiring to me. And I can't get over how, as an actor myself, and I don't get to be on screen as an actor very often, but I just love watching actors who surround the lead and how do they react to the lead. And how does the entire cast work to bring me into the film and make me feel like I'm part of the film? And that's what I'm talking about. It's a Wonderful Life brings you in. It's a Wonderful Life touches you, and hits you in certain areas if you're open to it. Open yourself up. It's not a popcorn movie. It's a movie where you want to sit down, snuggle with your dog and your significant other, or cuddle in your favorite blanket and focus and watch it. Don't do the phone, don't do the this. Look at it, watch it, because all the nuances and the subtleties really get to you, and you start to feel. And this is what I like about films. I like films that make me feel. I want to feel it. And I don't want you to cheat me by cutting off that pain feeling before I can fully feel it. And the reason you need to feel pain is because pain exists, guys. You know it. I don't need to tell you this. And to continue to create movies that seem to make you think like you can do this or you can do that and you don't have to be accountable for it, they're baloney. And so I like to have a film that is truthful and open and honest. But It's a Wonderful Life, man. It's really got teeth. It's really got teeth. And it that the pain is great in some areas, but it is just a great, great film. So I thought by opening with that today. And man, this girl sure can talk. Is that what you're saying? Terry sure can talk. Anyway, that's what I think. You want to start 2025 off right? Start by watching this movie. Start by considering some of the things that I've said here today. How does it apply to your life? If you've watched it and you see what I saw or you see something different, please post in the comments and let me know. That does get to me, and I'd like to read and then respond to you. I'm going to be better about that now that my crazy life looks like it's, big shakeup for me these past 3 years as I lost both parents. So, that's what I'm saying. And sometimes you're knocked off that track and the train doesn't necessarily go down in the way you planned it. And so you just hang on to that comment for dear life and say, if I hang on long enough, I'll get through this. Yeah. And as this New Year's opens, because we're human, we have a right to draw a line in the sand and say, this is going to be different. Yes, that happened in 2024 and 2023 and 2022, but this is 2025. And we're going to do the best we can to make it not only good for ourselves, but our families and for others. Go out with tolerance, be positive, be kind, and after all, really think about what others are going through and try not to break so quickly. And I'm speaking to myself too. This is not me saying this. It's me saying, let's consider before we explode what is really happening in the situation. And I wish you the happiest of New Year's. And I will hopefully see you next time. And I hope I will be more together. I'll try to keep these tighter because I know your time is valuable. But this one at just a little over 30 minutes is one of the shortest I've ever done. So have a good year. Please let me know if you watch It's a Wonderful Life and if you understand what I'm trying to say. Please let me know what your thoughts are, how you see the new year. Please post it in the comments and share it with me if you so choose. I'd love to hear it. And until next time, do something nice for someone else. It'll make you feel a whole lot better. And bye for now. Woo!